always... Wow. Thanks for that too. That was great. Now I feel like at home. So I'm really happy to be here today. I am happy for mostly 3 reasons. Of course, for the fact that what Anu already mentioned, I really want to share our story with you guys. I'm happy to talk about growth, which is one of my favorite subjects. And I'm happy to talk about the role of digital in all of this. So that's basically what I want to talk about today. And please, I've spent 7 years in Sweden during my career, so I really am used to questions and discussion. And that's really welcome, also after my presentation. So let's go for an international great session today. Finnair, how many of you are from Finland actually in the room? Okay, so there's quite a few, because I was asking Anu about this, and you never know how many people really know our brand and our company. So I just took a couple of facts about who we are in terms of size and in terms of a company. We really are a growth company, and I'll come to that later on. We don't look at kind of the past that much. We really want to figure out what is in the future. At the same time, we are one of the longest operating airlines in the world, from 1923 already. And that, of course, gives us a proud history and a proud heritage. A couple of the numbers, 11 million passengers annually. We're around 5,000 people in the company. And about the destinations, we are very heavily focused on Asia. That's our growth story. 19 destinations, 7 in America, and then about 100 in Europe. So we are a global company, and our clients are very global. That's short background. And then really kind of going into what Anu mentioned about being a growth company, about really kind of focusing on accelerated growth, and not really kind of on the historical difficulties of the industry. There's a couple of facts about our growth. We're really growing in all areas. On the side of cargo, we're growing our fleet. We have received, actually it's a wrong number there, I think we have 11 new aircraft, 350s, which really provide the modern, unique Nordic experience that we want to provide to our customers. And we're growing both in terms of ticket sales and ancillary sales, and also kind of adding new parts to the company recently, insourcing our kitchen, so the catering part of the business. So in all terms, in all areas, we're going forward to the future and building something new. I joined the company 1.5 years ago, and it was really focusing on these 4 areas in our strategy. Growth, the digital transformation, as we call it, the customer experience, and the employee experience. So for us, these 4 areas are really kind of the core elements in delivering our future. And that's what we're focusing on. There's a huge interdependence also between these 4 areas. So digital, customer experience, and employee experience, all of those areas work very tightly together. And that's what we base our growth on. A couple of kind of, to give you the scale of what we're looking into in the future. There's an old target already of doubling. We already doubled the Asian traffic in 2018, or we'll try to double it in 2018 versus 2010. And we are going to double the ancillary revenues. So that is all the kind of the value-adding products and services that we sell on top of the tickets. And then, of course, also we set ourselves a bit more ambitious target for the passenger numbers in the future. So we're going for 2030 to head for 20 million customers. And this is a question that we quite often ask ourselves also in the company. Are we ambitious enough? And I think that's always a good question. Having a growth mindset and focusing on really building the future, it's all about asking yourself, are you ambitious enough? Are you really seeing the opportunities around you?
The world is transforming, and we're doing it together. Let's find out what it means. Our customer's journey isn't only about having a seat on a plane. It's about a unique customer experience, and you and I have a responsibility to create that. Our competitive edge arises from knowing why the customer chooses Finnair and what added value we can offer. Many service providers build the ecosystem, and we together make the customer experience unique. Finnair seeks significant growth through improving customer and people experience, finding new business areas, and orchestrating this intelligent travel ecosystem. Finnair's transformation enables Lena and Paul to get timely and useful information about the flight, allowing them to take into account the special needs of the customer. New mobile solutions make Marcus's work in maintenance more fluent and predicting service needs easier. With the help of versatile analysis, data development teams agilely produce personalized services that are offered during different phases of the journey to the customers. Mr. Ma and other Finnair clients feel special when we offer them a unique Nordic experience both online and offline. They land safely at their destination, energized by the great beginning to their trip and ready for more. Finnair's transformation won't happen instantly or by itself. It's all about the people, you and me. What does all this mean for you?
Okay, so that was a video that I wanted to share with you. It's something that we did in order to talk about the transformation that we're going through. It combines all the parts. We're operating a very complicated business, probably one of the most complicated in the world. And at the same time, it has a lot of different constituents in the ecosystem. So when we started to really think about what we want to do in terms of digital transformation, of course, the first task was really to look outside of the window. What is happening outside of the window? And that's what we did quite properly a year ago. So we really tried to analyze and see, meet, experience the world, not just the business of the airlines, but really going into different parts of the travel and also going to different parts of other industries or industry segments. We try to understand the consumers, we try to understand the technologies, of course, and at the same time what is happening in different parts of the business, also talking to a lot of startups and smaller companies in the ecosystem. And of course, last but not least, what we really need to do is to understand what our employees are going through. How is their experience and how can we make that better? What do they expect from a company like ours? So really knowing the game and learning to dance in the new future is something that we have done. We also, of course, designed a program of how do we go about this change and how do we approach it. And this is kind of a transformation stack that we put together. These are the areas where we are working with the change around us. And it all started with the vision and strategy. You saw a short film about it, a short video. We're also looking into different kind of business models for the future. Where are the opportunities for us? We're working with the organization and processes. There's quite some potential if you look at many companies like ours, having a lot of still very transactional traditional processes and bringing them digital and mobile as well. Services and products is something that is very familiar to everybody in the room. This is, of course, the segment where digitalization more or less started for many companies, bringing everything in front of the customer through the digital channels and digital services. Of course, we're working a lot and heavily on that area. The two main components then, enabling everything, is the people and the technology. We're focusing heavily on our people. Really giving the 5,000 people in the whole team the right understanding, the right services, the right tools, the right experiences in building their own future within the company. And that has been really important for our success so far. So not just focusing on the other important layer, which is technology, of course, but really kind of taking our people into the core of our transformation. Okay, I'll tell you a couple of examples what we have done then how do we really kind of bring the growth through digital? So the first point would be kind of to grow, of course, the top line of the company. And here we have 4 examples of how do we do it, and a little bit about the results, what we have done. So maybe if we start with the examples or with the points that we wanted to lift in the air. Of course, today is all about user and user friendliness. We work a lot with that area in many different ways. We're optimizing the booking process. Many of you know that whenever you go to a traditional booking process, they are quite clumpy and there's still a lot of work to be done. That's an important area for us. If you go on our site, you can find a beta version of a new booking process. Go and try it out. We try to make it really, really a lot more user-friendly for the future. It's also optimized for the mobile. What is important also is to add the touch points for ancillary sales. So whenever you go online, whenever you meet up people, you should be able to add some little extras to your experience. And this is a big work for a company like ours, having many touch points to customers. We really want to make our products and services better available for everyone coming to our digital platforms. And of course, then I was talking about the Asian markets and their importance for us. And if you look at how the user experience in the Asian countries is different, there's quite some things to learn. So for us as a company, it's important to really understand what our customers coming from that region, what they expect, what channels do they use, what are the services. In this part of the world, we often talk about Amazon. We don't talk too much about WeChat and the other services that are in the same kind of roles as the platforms that we are kind of familiar with. So there's a lot of work in that area. And so far, if you look at how it's growing quite nicely. So basically, these are the figures from Q2, and the digital sales is plus 16 for the ticket part, and then plus 23 for the ancillary part. Of course, are we ambitious enough? We want to go faster forward and are adding a lot of action in that area. I also mentioned that we are looking at new innovative services and products, and that's, of course, that is a work that you do constantly. But we are also adding a lot of kind of innovation capabilities and ways of working with new, really kind of new, more radical innovation in the company. So that's a little bit about the top line and how digital plays in this field. Maybe one of the big changes also in thinking is that if you look at the digital consumers or digital customers, we really need to see them as an asset to the company. We really need to start from the fact that, okay, if we have 2.3 million, we've already also break the record for 2.5 million individual visitors to our platform. If we really think about that group of people, what can we really serve them in the future? What do they really want from us? Where are the value-adding capabilities? It's a change in the mindset if you really think about what the assets of the company are. And for us, this is an important starting point to really focus on the digital customers. Maybe then more to the traditional part of the business. Here you see a little bit of planes and kind of the operational part of the business. And I mentioned that we are working very heavily on the process side, digitalizing the processes that we have in the company. And this is, of course, important for the growth as well. If you think about what we need to do in order to achieve the growth numbers that we're going for, we need to be able to release capacity for the growth throughout all the processes in the company. And that's what we're doing also through digital solutions. We have, during this year, we have launched digital services for our maintenance. So the maintenance process is getting digitalized. That we already did in February this year. And we also launched a new payment service for the whole in-flight. So that is 2,500 people are using a new system or new service in-flight, on-flight of our fleet. So these are big moves, and they have a significant effect on our growth capabilities. And there's of course more to come. And if you look at really the future, what we are seeing next year, the year after that, of course, is building the capabilities for more intelligent and more intelligence. Talked about AI and the future technologies, and we're already having kind of POCs and proof of concepts in that area. So the third area then is really about the customer experience. And if we think about what we have achieved at the moment, what we are looking at in the whole company, I mentioned that we really want to combine customer experience, the people experience, and the digital all together. What we track, of course, is the NPS. So we have been able to grow the NPS quite nicely, and the Q2 published number is 48. What is really important from the digital perspective now is that we are shifting our thinking to a more platform thinking. So basically, if I go forward a little bit, what we have had and what we still have in the company is that we have our different touch points, if you like, towards everybody in the room, towards all of our customers. What we need to do is to really start to think about this as a platform. So Mikael was talking about what do the great platform companies do? How do they think about the future? They want to own the customer. Well, we don't let them own the customer. We want to own the customer as well. And in order to really go to that direction and continue on that direction, what we need to do is to make a stronger platform. So what it means is really then combining the customer experience across all the touch points in a more seamless way, towards a more experience-focused way, and of course also changes in the background or the back end. So I mentioned that one of the important things is also to shift your ways of thinking. So when you think about the digital assets, when you think about the touch points, please do think about them from the customer's perspective and apply a platform thinking attitude towards that. So there are quite some growth numbers here, but we of course want to achieve a lot more in the future. And you can see kind of our main touch points in this presentation. So we have the Finnair.com, we have the mobile app, we have the IFE on the flights, Nordic Sky is our Wi-Fi portal, we have the Finnair shop, and then we have some POCs and experiences already going on with the chatbots. So basically, what I didn't put on the slide is that if you look at Finnair, if you look at our e-commerce operation today, I think that we are the second largest e-commerce player in Finland. And I'm going to continue saying that until somebody comes and challenges it, and I'm waiting for that. But this is also something, I mean, coming to the growth mindset and coming to understand the assets that you have within a company. This is something we need to talk about. We have a very talented group of people developing these services, and we need to lift it up as one of the main enablers for our future. So fourth, I talked a little bit and touched upon the employee experience. And one of the words that we have launched within the company is lovable. Well, usually when you go to a company and you start to talk with the IT team and with the people producing the experiences, you hear a lot about availability. And that's what we also kind of thought a lot about. We need to have available services, but is that really enough? No, we need to have usable services, and that's not enough either. Our employees, they deserve lovable experiences. They deserve services that they really want to use, not services that they sometimes have to use for some internal processes. So this is also really important for us. We are putting a lot of effort into really producing and designing and buying internal services that our people like to use, love to use in the future. And of course, that's a future target, but this is something we talk a lot about. We are also, as a company, we're doing so much in this area that I can't even go through everything, but I want to mention future of work, which is of course a hot topic in many ways. What we're doing in this area is that we're doing a hot hack experience at the moment. We're putting people from different parts of the company, taking them together and making them experience and build the new ways of working for the future. So we have a very agile method in designing the future digital platforms for them, also the physical surroundings, the office buildings, and of course, leadership and team development. So we're really experimenting a lot at the moment, and it's very inspiring. We learned already a huge amount about our organization, about our people, and how they want to work in the future. So there's a lot of things going on also in the employee experience, and even though if you might think that the future of work would not be maybe a topic that comes from the digital part, it has a very strong component that is purely digital. So what are the digital platforms that our people want to use in the future? How do they change the work that they do every day at the office? So a heavy focus on this one as well. And last but not least, I was thinking when I was listening to Mikael, I was thinking about this, that somebody has this old saying about ballet shoes. And what's the value of ballet shoes? You mentioned the ballet shoes. That's why I started to think about this old thing that I heard once. And of course, it's different for everybody. The shoes are not very valuable for somebody who can't dance, are they? Yet they have a market price, and you might buy them with the high price. If you can't dance, they are not worth or value. Their value for you is not high. So the fifth point for us is really kind of developing the new capabilities. What do we need as an organization in order to kind of finishing the touch on our dance? I think that we are already kind of in a good place when it comes to capabilities, but there's a lot of capabilities that we need in the future, and we need to be very, very focused on developing the ones. So a couple of things that we are doing at the moment is really kind of the data culture, of course. That's something that everybody is very, very familiar with and understands in this room. But of course, this is important for the whole organization if you look at Finnair. And I'm really happy that we have been able to add quite some talent in this field to the organization with the head of data and kind of her team. We have done a big move in the industry, which I fortunately didn't understand that it was a big move for the industry, but we have insourced our service development. So in the past, our services, our digital platform was developed, mostly by external vendors, which are very dear and close to us even now. But what we did is that we decided to insource that capability. So we have built a team, an agile team that is really focusing on all the platform development towards our customers today. And that is also, of course, a shift in thinking. This is really something that is in the core for us in the future. And that's what we've done during the year, and we are continuing recruiting in that field. Of course, then about the people transformation, we talked a little bit. About innovation, we didn't talk that much. When I mentioned in the beginning that we really need to look what is happening outside of the industry, in different kind of gray areas between the boundaries of industries, in the customer needs, we really need to look from the new angle. So for innovation capabilities, what we're doing currently is that we're starting also in that field to develop our own radical innovation capabilities in the company. And I think that this is one of maybe the hardest things to do, because of course we are innovative in many areas already today, and we innovate constantly new products and services, new ways of making our customers' lives easier. But at the same time, it's important for us to understand where kind of new opportunities lie, really thinking out of the box. And if you look at travel industry and what is going on and the dynamics that Mikael also mentioned in looking at Airbnb, a lot is happening. It's a huge opportunity. It's a huge opportunity for everybody who's ready to look at the world and build the future. And that's what we're doing in that field. So basically, to end up with this framework, more or less, this summarizes a little bit the film or the video that I had in the beginning, how we are transforming the company, how do we structure the transformation. It is structured from different parts. We're helping all the business units end to end at Finnair to really cope with the change, and not just cope, but create their own future and transform into digital. We are also, of course, in the background then building these building blocks, if you like, the blue areas. The vision and strategy we have the digital people experience, we're going to continue with that. We're building the innovation capabilities and the data capabilities and going forward for the accelerated growth. So that was a lot of stuff. I hope that you could follow. And please, all questions are welcome.